Live and direct, welcome back to another episode of Monday Night Live right here on LATV on the Tribune Television Network. Welcome, Dr. Natalie Forrest. And once again, we have a real exciting show this week going over a subject matter that is very timely, very important, particularly in today's world. So, Dr. Natalie Forrest, what is it about this week's episode that you think is so important for people to tune in for?
Well, I think what is important is that so many of us do something instead of doing what we love. And then we wonder why we're stressed, unhappy, and just want to tear everything down. So today we're going to talk about doing what you love and how that can inspire you, how you can take that passion into everything that you do. And we've got amazing speakers who can talk to that. So I'm very excited about doing what we love.
And what's interesting, Natalie, is according to a Gallup poll, over 70% of people in the United States are disenfranchised, dissatisfied, and downright miserable with their place of employment and with what they do for a living. And so Natalie, that's almost 3/4 of the country. And I would say it's probably closer to 75% because you and I both know that a lot of times some people may not be fully honest when they do Gallup polls. And so today we brought in a group of people that we vetted, and we know them all as people that do what they love to do for a living. They do what they're passionate about. They live their purpose. And this is the path to fulfillment that we're going to be discussing today. And before we get into that, quick housekeeping note. Of course, Natalie, we're just a few short days away from our televised event on Roku TV with several incredible speakers. And Natalie, I just want you to talk a little bit about the event that we have in a few days and why people want to grab a pen, grab a paper, clear their schedule, and join us over the course of the next few days for this event.
Well, I think it's pretty simple or awesome. We have amazing experts who actually have been through life and through creating their own businesses. They've been in the trenches. They figured out a way on how to create and maintain a successful business and a happy life because they go together. And so, Sharon Lecter is going to be there, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about how to set everything up so you can exit rich. She's going to be talking also with David Meltzer, for example, about the importance of collaboration. And then, of course, we have some special highlights, some cultural icons. And what I'm personally extremely excited about are some of the maybe less well-known speakers who are going to give us really, really important insights into how they are creating a life and a business. And then lastly, Dr. Joe Vitale. I am beyond honored, and I don't even know what I'm going to wear when we have him on the event and when we're actually going to be able to honor him for the amazing work that he has consistently been doing.
Absolutely. And, if you're a fan of a small, tiny indie film, a couple of you may have heard of it. It's called The Godfather. We actually have one of the stars of The Godfather also joining us. Of course, Gianni Russo, best known for playing Carlo in The Godfather, 78 years old. And I just spoke to him the other day. So much energy, so much enthusiasm, so excited for the event. And really just, a fountain of youth. And, Natalie, a lot of people asked me, they said, Mo, how did you get an actor from The Godfather to come to the event? And I told them quite simply, I made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. And with that, we're going to go ahead and bring in this incredible panel from all around the world. I mean, look at this exciting group of folks. And of course, we have so many incredible people from around the world. Welcome, everybody. Let's start off quickly with brief introductions. And, when you hear about the subject matter of today's show, which is doing what you love to do for a living. What's the first thing that comes to mind? I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Natalie while she navigates this for the next few minutes, but let's just go in order and let everybody speak on this.
Do you want me to go first? Because we have two Natalies.
Take the reign, Natalie, and just navigate for the next few minutes, and then we'll start with Sheila, and then we'll go from there.
Yes. So look at these people from all across the world, and they are all happy to do what they're doing, and they love what they're doing. So Sheila, what is it that you do, and why do you love it? How is that possible?
Good afternoon. I am a neuroenergetic practitioner, and I like to help people remove blocks in their lives, create success, remove limiting beliefs. And I also am passionate about creating dragons and dragon eggs. So I've kind of melded my love of the metaphysical with crystals into my passion and hobby of creating orgonite. And I make dragons and crystals, and I love my life.
Wow, that's amazing. I could talk about dragons all the time. My daughter loves them. But let's move one over to Eric Swanson. What about you?
Oh, thank you so much, Natalie and Mo and everybody. You guys are awesome. What's happening? So my name's Eric Swanson. They call me Mr. Awesome. That's my nickname. And I was not self-proclaimed that nickname. I actually was getting off of stage one time, and Les Brown came up to me and he pointed at me. He says, "You're Mr. Awesome." And when Les Brown calls you Mr. Awesome, you kind of keep that nickname. So a little background on me. I started, when you guys were born, I started around 24 years ago. And a gentleman named Brian Tracy took me under his wing. I worked with him for a good 8 years or so, branched off and had a conversation with a gentleman named Jim. You guys might know who Jim is, but I won't tell you until the end of the little introduction story here. So I'm sitting with Jim, and he calls me over. He says, "Eric, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I work with Brian." "What do you mean?" He's like, "What do you do for Brian Tracy?" And I was all excited. I go, "I'm the best salesperson ever for Brian Tracy." He goes, "Really?" He says, "What do you really want to do?" That's what Jim asked me. And when I went away, I came back after I pondered it for hours and hours, and I came up to him and I said, "Mr. Rohn, Jim Rohn, I believe I know what I want to do. I want to help people with their habits and their attitude, and I want to help myself as well." And he said, "You should put that together." So I literally put the words together, and that's where Habitude Warrior, the whole conference came about. And that was years ago, and that's what we do. And my name's Eric Swanson, and I'm here to help and serve you guys.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. I like that story. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I don't know if that was 24 years ago, but we'll go to that another time. How about Mr. Daval? What brings you to an understanding of you love what you do?
Absolutely. And I wish I had a nickname like that, Mr. Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll give you Mini Awesome. You'll be Mini Awesome.
Mini Awesome. Yeah, mini me, right? I get to help entrepreneurs with growing their businesses and helping them fund their businesses. Way back when, in a previous life, about 5 years ago, I used to be in New York City, and I had a long career in Manhattan, working in private equity. And, we were buying these small companies, putting them together, making giant portfolio companies out of them. And after a while, I felt like I was sort of just cleaning out those small business owners, and didn't really feel good about that, and made a lot of money, which is great, but you want to do something that's sort of adding value to the world, and I didn't really feel like I was doing that. So 3 years ago, I moved to California, wanted to start over again, and I decided to start working with smaller companies, startups, helping them raise money so they can grow their businesses instead of selling them and getting out of them, right? And now, that's my full-time job. I started a small company called Startup Steroid, and it's a web portal where founders can come in, create their profiles, and we sort of give them an entire ecosystem of services to help them grow their business and get them the funding they need if that's what's required, and just take the business to the next level. So that's my full-time job, and I love every minute of it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Well, amazing. Sherry, you're back. Welcome back. How do you do what you do and love it?
So I'm Sherry Gideons. I am a high vibe thought leader, spiritual teacher, and neurostrategist. And I help people to break through limiting beliefs, to become mentally and emotionally free so that they can be connected to their spirituality and their true identity. And this happened for me 24 years ago. I had a near-death experience as a result of trying to meet up to the expectations of the world around the pro bodybuilding industry. And I had that trip to the white light. And so all of these experiences that we all go through, the challenge, the setback, the struggle, the limiting beliefs, the self-worth issues, I had to go through those first myself. I had to discover, how to break free of those limiting beliefs and those setbacks that some of us get stuck in. And finding ingredients to a recipe on my own journey and my own learning to live in the moment is what brought me to where I am now, where I help other people really clarify what they want in life so that they can win and succeed, because I believe that each and every one of us deserves that type of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us again, Sherry. And next up, I want to go to Robbie, who I know I've had a chance to spend quite some time speaking with him about his business. And Robbie, one thing I know about you is that you love what you do. And, the premise of this show is doing what you love to do, because quite frankly, if you think about it, we spend most of our lives working on our projects, on our businesses, or on our jobs, depending on the life that you live. And if you're spending most of your life doing something that is not making you happy, why are you doing it? I'll refer back to a Gallup poll that I cited earlier in the program, where 71% of people, according to this study, are miserable, disenfranchised, and disorientated with their job and with what they do for a living. And so our message here is to do what you love to do, but do it in a practical way. What everyone here has in common is that they do what they love to do, but they're also practical about it. They're running a business. They're able to sustain their lifestyle with it. And I think I excited Robbie so much that he just had to vanish. So before he comes back, we're going to go to Natalie. Natalie, and I'm talking to the Natalie wearing red, just to be clear, so no one's.
Thanks, Mo.
Thanks,
Mo. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie.
Or was it me?
Let's go to Natalie, Robbie, and then we'll go to you.
Awesome.
All right. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Natalie with the Financial Architects. I do financial planning. I've been in the financial planning sector since 2004. And what I love about financial planning is that I love to teach people how to have a healthy relationship with money. Because if you look at our relationship with money, it's a reflection of all the relationships in our lives. It dictates such a huge part of our lives. It dictates how we feel, unfortunately. And it's a tool that we use every single day, but we're never taught how to use it. And so my passion is really to help people have a healthy relationship with that. Get any money blocks if they're having away. I'm excited to be on the panel with you ladies tonight with that, and help them to really have peace of mind when it comes to money and that relationship in their life.
Thank you so much, Natalie. And one of our Monday Night Live alumni is a good friend of mine, Edward Malikin, says, wow, we have Eric Swanson on tonight. That's awesome. So, Eric, you got a lot of fanfare already. And we want to thank everyone in the virtual auditorium for leaving comments. And now let's go to.
I'm winning 1-0 so far, guys.
Absolutely. Let's go to.
It's the name. I'm telling you, Mr. Awesome is winning.
Absolutely. But we haven't heard from Robbie yet, so the competition is about to increase. Robbie, the floor is yours.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I know Sherry. I think I've met.
Yes, Robbie.
Absolutely. And we got to stop getting Robbie so excited, because when he gets excited, he either freezes or he drops off.
He's on Sherry.
So, we're going to bring Robbie back, because what he's saying is so powerful and magical that it just messes up the frame. So I want to go to you, Eric, because what I know about you, Eric, is you work with a lot of different people. And yes, I know that it's currently 1-0, but we still have 45 minutes left in this program. So we'll see what happens in the end.
Let me text a few more of my friends in. Hold on.
There you go. So Eric, tell us a little bit about the importance of doing what you love to do for a living, living your purpose. Speak to us on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it obvious? Like it's amazing how obvious it should be. Yet a lot of us get into this grind of just doing the things that we have to do instead of what we want to do. You know, it's amazing. Our friend Les Brown, all of us know Les. We share a lot of stages with him. I was actually on a speaker panel this morning with him, and he used to say this. You know what a rut is? A lot of us get into these ruts. And a rut is only 6 feet from a grave. Okay, it's like it's very close, you know. So what I do is I strive to get in front of myself in such a great way that I would look at myself and say, "Wow, you're kicking butt. You're doing a great job." Like people ask me, who's your mentor? And I give them the regular. I've got it written down right here. I give them a list of my mentors, right? But who do you aspire to learn from and to be mentored by? And I say me 5 years from now. That's what I say. You know why? Is because I have this feeling, this energy, this every cell in my body. I mean, can you feel it right now? Like I just want to like climb over there and just high five everyone in this screen right here, except for Robbie. I'm winning, by the way, Robbie. So every cell in my body, I want to help people, you know, and I wear this right here. It's a dog tag that says NDSO, and I'll put it in the chat somewhere. It's NDSO, which stands for No Drama, Serve Others. So if you do what you're supposed to be doing, you will help the world, including yourself. My name's Eric Swanson. That's my time. Mic drop. Where's my mic? Where's my little... Here it is. Ready? Boom. Here's the little mic. Boom. Mic drop.
Can I just say that there's just too much testosterone in here. It's like the two guys are competing. You know, let's just leave that out there. Let the girls talk. Let the girls talk.
I'm about to go put on a red dress.
Duvall is all namaste. So
I'm gonna go get my red dress and my name tag. This actually says Natalie. I don't know if you can see my name tag right there. So
incredible. So moving on.
Actually, Eric, I think you should put a red dress on. I think that.
All right, I'll be right back.
That'll get us a lot more views.
So moving on from the three Natalies. Now, Duvall, your story is very interesting because you actually left the heart of the financial sector in New York, where you were working in Citigroup, and you were actually in the upper echelons of the financial industry of the United States. And you and I have had some great conversations about what that world was like. And you shared a little bit about your story as far as why you left it. But what I know about you, Duvall, and just full disclosure, I know Duvall personally, and we've had some conversations, is Duvall does what he loves to do for a living. And, I want to know the journey, Duvall, from leaving corporate America, where you had a good job, where you had basically, high paying salary and everything given to you that many people aspire to have, but you left that. And you left that intentionally. And I want to know, what was that journey like for you? Because what I know, Duvall, is that there's people watching this that are where you were. And what is it that you can share with them about taking that leap, taking that journey, and stepping outside of their comfort zone?
Absolutely. So first thing I would say, Mo, is that it's not easy. And that's not to pat myself in the back, but that's to make it real for everyone who's watching. This transition from, the 9 to 5 working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and just putting in all of your blood, sweat, and tears behind something that you're really not passionate about. Once it becomes a lifestyle, it's sort of hard to leave behind because of, there's security associated with it. There is financial security associated with it. There is family and friends you might have made while working associated with it. So it's leaving one life and going into another life. And that's a very hard transition. Having said that, it's not impossible. And what I would suggest is that what I did, I'll share my example, is that I spent a lot of time educating myself on what that transition looks like. And, this is going back, I started reading this while I was in business school, in fact, but, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The 4-Hour Work Week, all of the usual, Napoleon Hill, all of these great mentors and writers who sort of highlighted that path, spend a lot of time studying them and really preparing yourself mentally for that transition. And once you are going through that transition, make up your mind and say, close one door, open another door, right? Have a hard break. And for me, it actually took, moving across the country. I left New York, moved to California, because I wanted to make sure that there was a real break from my previous life coming into a new life. And so for you, it might be just moving to the next town over. For you, it might be, going to a different place just so you know that, okay, I can't go to my office, I have to go someplace else.
Right.
But that transition is very important. And you have to be mentally strong. You have to create a plan. And creating a plan starts with educating yourself. And then, once you are through that transition, know exactly what you're going to do on the other side. So you're not willy-nilly, oh, I think I might start a business. That doesn't get you anywhere. You have to say, okay, this is how I'm going to earn my money. This is how I'm going to pay for dinner, right? You have to have a very clear plan. And that's really what you need to go through that transition. And that's the journey I went through. And it's, fingers crossed, it's been great so far. But this is the for everyone who is stuck in that rut, stuck in that 9 to 5, this is how you need to sort of move to something that you really love and something that you're passionate about. And as you can see with Eric, with myself, with Natalie, all of us have so much energy. It's late in the evening here, but we have this energy. We have this enthusiasm for life. And that comes because we spend all of our time doing something we love. And, the people who come home at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and sort of pass out in front of the TV, that's because you don't have that enthusiasm and you really need to get it.
You're absolutely right. And in fact, I was just talking to my friend Robbie, who we're about to go to next, about this, because Robbie and I, sometimes we're up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., working on different projects, working on different creative endeavors, working on different things that we're excited about. Maybe it's a book, maybe it is helping a friend with their business, whatever the case may be. Entrepreneurs, particularly what I call creative leaders and creative entrepreneurs, we have projects, we have businesses, and we have P&L sheets, and we have spreadsheets, but I refer to everything that I do as a project. And I look at it from the perspective of an artist, because that's what my origin is. I was originally a music producer turned entrepreneur. So I'll always have an artistic perspective to everything that I do, similar to Robbie. And Robbie, I'd like to give you the floor. I know we've had a couple technical difficulties here, but please keep your energy level a little bit lower, because what happens is when you speak and when you think, Doc Brown from Back to the Future talked about 9.5 gigawatts or something, whatever it was. And so we want you to not destroy our stream. So it's 5 to 6. Robbie's up to 6, and congratulations on taking the lead. We're not even at halftime yet. But Robbie, please take the floor and speak on what we have been discussing so far in this show. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so thank you again. I don't know what's going on my end, but I've always been a big fan of just living your dream, living your passion. For me, it's been extreme. I'm a very extreme person. And this is how extreme I am. I'd rather die than not to live my dream. That's how passionate I am. Ever since I was 5 years old, I was taught about the American dream, meaning that you can start with nothing and make something out of yourself. I bought into that wholeheartedly. And I've been willing to walk away from people, places, and things that did not support me. I think that's very important for anybody out there that's thinking about going for their dreams. Realize that you're going to die one day. Just think about all the people that passed away from COVID this year, right? When I hear that, I wonder how many of those individuals did not live what they wanted to live. How many of those individuals lived somebody else's version of their life? And I feel like so many of us do that. So I'm on a mission. This is why I created a business to serve other entrepreneurs, because I'm on a mission to help other people live their dreams. I love working with business owners, because those are usually people that have taken something and turn it into something amazing. And they are there to serve people. So that's what it's about for me. I'd rather not be on the planet if I can't live my dreams. I have to do it. It's no other way for me.
Let them know, Robbie. Did you guys hear what he just said? He said that I would rather die than not live my dream. And that's the kind of passion that it takes to actually go into the trenches and make things happen. Because look, let's talk about that word passion for a moment. A lot of people say, follow your passion, follow your passion, follow your passion. We've all heard it. We've all heard billionaires and speakers being asked, well, what's the recipe to success? Follow your passion. But I ask, how many of us know what that word really even means? You see, the root origin of the word passion is suffering.
Yep.
The word passions is a derivative of the word suffering. So when you follow your passion, what are you following? You're following your suffering, meaning to make your dreams come true, you're going to suffer. To start that business, to make sure that your P&L sheet looks good at the end of every quarter, you're going to suffer, but it's going to be worth it because you're following your passion and you're living your dream. That's why I say, don't try to be happy 24/7, but be fulfilled 24/7. Happiness comes and goes.
Yeah.
You know, you might be
Very
the
good.
happiest person on the planet and you get a phone call from someone and your happiness disappears like that. Okay. But the fulfillment can never be shaken. And so thank you, Robbie. I think that, you know, you're an example of somebody that's on what Joseph Campbell spoke about when he was referring to the hero's journey. And I'm excited to hear more from your story in the next within the next hour here. But let's keep the ball rolling. I want to go to Sherry now, because I know, Sherry, you've heard some people speak so dynamically. I'm curious to hear what's in your heart right now.
Yeah, you know, everything that Eric and Robbie are saying are in perfect alignment with myself.
Not Duvall, though, right? Not Duvall?
No,
Not Duvall?
Not me.
Duvall, let me pull back for a second, Duvall. Yes, my friend. You have said some amazing things yourself. And yes, it's all in beautiful, perfect alignment. And as for myself, you know, one of the things that I've been able to really get clear about for myself is what are my highest values. And my highest values are to speak, teach, serve, and to help others really tap into what we're all talking about, what Robbie just said. You know, it reminded me of a story I mentioned earlier that I had a near-death experience in 1997. Well, I ended up going through what we would classify as suffering in order to find out who I truly was. I walked homeless on the street. And it was during that time that I went through many levels of surrender. And it was from that surrender that the hero song, every rendition of the hero song would come to me. And it would say, you know, there's a hero in you, there's a hero in me. And it always gave me the strength and the courage to keep moving forward in the moment, to really get clear about what brought more fulfillment in my life, what brought more joy and happiness in my life, and to be willing to tap into that no matter what the appearance was. Because the clearer I got, guess what? The more tapped in, turned on, and tuned in I was to that fulfillment. And so here I am today, you know, loving what I do. And that is helping other people to tap into that, into themselves, and to really live that life. Because what if today was over? What if all we had was today? How much joy and happiness would you be willing to milk out of today? And that's really what I love helping people do. That's why I do what I do.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that, Sherry, because yes, I agree with everything you said. And I'll add to that it's about milking the happiness, as you put it, but it's also about serving others. You know, and I know you personally, so I know that you agree with me, because I have a little bit of a, how should I say, maybe a quarrel. Is that the right way to say it? Or let me say I get a little peeved with the personal development industry. Sometimes it peeves me, because there's some people that 24/7 they you know, engulf themselves in certain literature because they want their own reality to be magical. They want to wake up and they want that Ferrari and they want that beautiful relationship and they want a lot of money to fall in their lap easily, and they meditate and they have their dream board and they read, you know, Think and Grow Rich and The Secret every single day, which, by the way, I love and I respect and I appreciate, and I read those books, but it's an element of who I am. It's not the entirety of who I am to 24/7 just think positive thoughts all the time.
Right.
Because here's a distinction. I learned a new word today I want to use. Joe, never mind, I forgot it. So here's the thing. but here's the thing.
We need to mute you, Mo. Oh my God.
But here's the thing, Eric. So If 24/7 someone is just thinking positive thoughts, and if the only thing they care about is they themselves making money and having a good relationship, that's what we call selfish. Let's get real here. And so this is why some elements of the personal development industry make me peeved, because it's not just about you. It's about we. It's about the planet. Yeah. It's about what can we do for others. And, you know, the reason I entered this arena is to share that message, that it's not just about you getting your sports car. It's not just about you getting, a wonderful relationship. It's about what the hell are you doing with your life for other people? What are you doing for this planet? What kind of a legacy are you leaving behind? And we're going to come back in the second half of this show and discuss that, the power of legacy. And I know Eric has something to say.
Yeah, we just had a new update. Sorry, Mo. It's Sherry 30 points, and Duvall, you got fired. Sorry,
Duvall. Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. Should I turn off my account?
Hopefully, yeah. Oh, he got fired. So, well, maybe you can come back.
I got voted off the island.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, we're going to actually come back. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break, and we're going to come back for the second half of the show, where we're going to talk about how to leave a lasting legacy doing what you love. Stretch break, and we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And welcome back to Monday Night Live on Roku TV on the LA Tribune Television Network. And, you know, the second half of this week's show, we're going to be discussing the power of leaving a legacy doing what you love. You know, the first half, we talked about why you want to live your purpose. And we talked about how, according to Gallup, over 70% of people in the United States of America are disenfranchised, dissatisfied, and downright miserable with their place of employment, and why you've got to live a life on your terms and create that life living your purpose. But now we want to talk about serving others and creating a legacy. And I'm going to start with Eric, because I know, Eric, what you do is really about that. So talk a little bit about what you do, the influence that you're making, the impact that you're making in other people's lives, and why that element of what you do is so important. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I wrote a bunch of notes down. Here they are. So thanks for picking me first, my friend. That's
wide open.
So, interesting thought, though. These are wide open notes, meaning, look, we can, if we're not downloading all this amazingness in the universe and sharing that with others, what's it for? You know, I was talking to my buddy Bob Berg the other day. Bob's a good friend. He's a great author. He's written so many books. He says, you know, books are great. You know, all these things like, by the way, this is just a green screen, so nothing's back here. So he says, I'm kidding. So if you grab one of these, here, one of Sharon Lecter's amazing books called Think and Grow Rich for Women. It's amazing, you know, and I read it just so I could see if I could pick up a date at some point. But anyway, so the point is, though, if you're going to have all these amazing, I know I joke around a lot. If you're going to have all these amazing books and you don't actually read it, but actually implement it, then what's it for? And your legacy is not going to be left on this amazing blue or green or whatever the color is of this ball that we're on right now. It's going to be like brown by the time we're done with it. But anyway, so before leaving, you know, and my whole goal tonight is just to see if I can get Robbie to laugh at least once. Leaving a legacy. Okay, fantastic. So leaving a legacy it's all about doing. Look, I use 2 or 3 C's. Here it is: being consistent and connecting with others and being caring while you're doing that. You know, and that's what really is going to make the world go around. And if you don't make the world go around, then you just have one person to look at, and you are responsible. I learned early on when I was talking to Brian Tracy 24 years ago when I first started with him. He said, Eric, you know, repeat after me 10 times. I am responsible. I am responsible. And I kept on saying that. And that's what it's all about, guys.
You're absolutely right. And what's interesting is you spoke about the distinction between reading books and actually living your life. And I'll use this metaphor where, the fruit that you pick from a tree, if you can't eat that fruit, of what use is it? And I want to go to Robbie next, because I know Robbie has a lot of insights on this. And Robbie, I know you're passionate about leaving a legacy, and you help a lot of people build their own legacies in business. And I want you to touch base on the importance of this. So the floor is yours, Robbie.
So I think about 3 people when I think about my legacy. First and foremost, I think about my beautiful wife and our 2 boys. I think about the fact that if I don't do everything I can in this
and again, Robbie, you got to keep the energy level a little lower when you speak. You can't go to 9.5 gigawatts, man. Doc Brown taught us that's a little too far. So we'll bring Robbie back in a minute, but let's go to Sherry right there in the middle before we get Robbie back. Sherry, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I have 4 children, and the first and foremost is I want to leave that legacy of love, knowing that my children knew that they were completely loved. And I do the same thing with humanity. I live my life every day loving people, letting people know how much I care about them, letting them know how special they are. And I keep a journal. I keep a journal every single day, talking about all the areas of my life so that I can leave that legacy when I'm gone, all the things that mattered to me and the things I was grateful on a daily basis. I share stories with my children, about the different experiences that I've had throughout my life and what I learned from those lessons and why I believe what I believe today. And I encourage them, to teach people how to treat them and to be honest and loving and to, always ground ourselves in a bigger, greater purpose. And so, so much of that every single day, I try to live at the highest and the most, because as I said earlier, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. So why not play full out, sharing all of that as much as I can with others in today?
Incredible. We're going to go to Duvall, and then after Duvall, we're going to go to the Natalie that's wearing red. But for now, Duvall, the floor is yours.
I love what you guys are saying as far as, connecting with people. And for me, to be totally honest, I spend a lot of time talking about business, about money, about finances, things of that nature. But at the end of it all, connecting with other people is the number one goal, because that's how you build those lasting relationships. That's how you really make an impact on the world. Because if you're not able to relate and connect with other human beings, then what good are you, right? We talked about these books, we talked about The Secret or Rich Dad Poor Dad. Secret, just as an example, everybody thinks it's about positive thinking. For me, Secret was a goal-setting book. If I create a positive goal and if I can communicate that goal, now I'm able to live my life to a higher level, to achieve more things. And I use that every single day. And that's how I feel like I'm going to leave my legacy, is to create, build those connections, make those, connections with people and help them get to the next level. And if I can achieve that, they'll remember me for the rest of their lives, and they'll tell their grandkids about what I did, right? So that's the idea. If you can connect with people, you don't have to worry about your legacy. It'll take care of itself.
You're absolutely right, Duvall, and I wholeheartedly agree that a lot of people misunderstood the law of attraction, and a lot of people only understood 1/3 of it. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, and it's your actions. And those are the 3 elements of the law of attraction. A lot of people forget about that 3rd element because it's not easy, right? It's easy to make a dream board. It's easy to feel the Ferrari. It's not that easy to run a business and to create, it's not that easy to make a business that goes on the Inc. 5000 list. That's where you need to actually have action. And, one of the people in the virtual auditorium, welcome, sir. I don't think we've ever seen you in the virtual auditorium. Pankaj Dayal says, Eric Swanson is contagious. Awesome. We know he's contagious. That's why we have only filled up our show with a 33% capacity here in the state of here. Go ahead, Eric. Floor is yours.
Just a quick question. Is that good during a pandemic or not really that good? I'm curious. Let me ask my producers. Hey, producers, are you guys? Oh, crap. I'm here alone. All right. So
it's all good, Eric. You know what? No, we only have a 33% capacity on this particular stream. So we're safe and sound. I want to go to Sheila because we haven't heard too much from you, Sheila. And I want you to discuss your journey, because what I'll share about you is that you used to actually be a McDonald's franchise owner. And you used to have, McDonald's is all over the place. And, I was probably the person that kept you in business, because that's my guilty pleasure. Between Eric and myself, I think we helped you get, an extra assistant manager between just the two of us. And that's a good thing, by the way. But Sheila, your journey is very interesting because you went from, doing something very Americana. I mean, how much more Americana can you get than owning a McDonald's, to selling dragon heads and eggs? So I'm very curious about that journey. And you haven't shared too much about your story and how you went from that to this. So please take the floor and tell us how you did that, how you transitioned like that.
Thank you, Mo. Well, my husband and I, he actually hired me when I was 18 years old to work at his parents' McDonald's restaurant in Oregon. And I said, sure. And I started working, and a week later I was hired full-time at another job, and I went and told him I'm quitting, and he said, well, let's go out. And I ended up marrying this man and getting into the McDonald's business as the family. And we had an opportunity to open our own restaurant in 1993 in Alaska, and we took it. And we ended up having 3 stores there. I operated the highest volume Walmart McDonald's in the entire country. And we cooked on an 18-inch grill, and we only cooked they called them the 10-to-1 products. And it was crazy insane because we were the first Walmart in Alaska. So it was always busy.
You told me that Sarah Palin was one of your top customers, but I digress from that. Please continue.
Pardon me. Oh, I love you, Mo. And so we did this for 5 years, and we ended up with 250 employees at any given point during the year. And we realized that we knew more about their children than we knew about our own children's friends. And my husband and I, we had agreed with our kids when we moved to Alaska from Oregon, we would search out and be like Alaskans and do what they did. So we ended up going on what they called snowmobile trips everywhere else in the nation, but we call them snow machining. And we would go to different lodges and bed and breakfasts. And my husband and I said, okay, one day we're going to own a bed and breakfast or a lodge. And after 5 years, we sold our restaurants. We moved to the interior of Alaska, where right now it was 45 below zero the other day. And we built our own house. I drew plans, built the house, and we decided, wow, if we could build our house ourselves, we'd represent the company. And we went on to help 200 other families in Alaska build their own houses. And then the 2008 hit, and the bankers kind of tanked everything for the mortgage industry.
Sheila, you can thank Duvall for that, by the way. He's right here.
Thanks, Duvall. I appreciate that. It changed my life. I'm thankful.
He was in New York at Citigroup at the time, so there you go. So
there we are.
Any frustration you have for 2008, there you go. You can let it out.
Come on,
it was all a good thing in the end. So by that point, I had actually started going through training. I'd been a Reiki master since 1997. And I evolved into a massage therapist, and just this whole metaphysical world opened up for me. My husband, when we realized that nobody could build houses in Alaska anymore because they couldn't get mortgages to build them. So he shifted and transitioned into working for native corporations in Alaska. And I said, let's turn our 3-story house into a bed and breakfast. So the last 6 years we lived in Alaska, we had over 6,000 people over 6 years visit our home from all over the planet, which was just amazing. And in 2018, I had a bad fourth knee surgery, and we made the decision it was time for us to get out of Alaska, and we moved to Maui. And in 2019, we moved to Maui, and now I do all of the same things I did in Alaska with clients and helping remove blockages. I'm really into ascension alchemy, which I was blown away, Sherry, when you said you worked on a program last year. That was when I got mine all set, was last year. And raising the frequency for people. And, when people say, oh, my vibe, well, yeah, it is your vibe. It's your frequency. And the higher that you vibrate and that's where we who are on this panel are sitting. We vibrate high and we have a lot of energy. And I wish to teach other people those same skills that I've learned over the years. And then about 2015, I ran into my friend and I. There were 3 of us teaching a 30-person retreat for ladies, and I got turned on to Organite. And I said, this is amazing stuff. I'm going to go start creating it. And that was how Dragon Eggs and Dragon Heads were born. And
folks, I want you guys to hear what this incredible woman just said. What she does for a living is she sells Dragon Heads and Dragon Eggs. And she loves what she does. And she made it work. And what I tell people is, I don't care if what you're passionate about is basket weaving. Find a way to start a business as a basket weaver, because right now, especially with the internet, there's no excuse. And if you don't believe me, ask Robbie, because we're going to go to Robbie and he's going to talk on this subject matter. Robbie, how easy is it right now for a person to start a business? Eric, please don't do that to Robbie.
Sorry, I've been on Clubhouse so much that I keep on trying to clap.
You're clapping.
Sheila.
A little bit of an insight.
I love Sheila. I love what you said. So
Clubhouse is amazing.
No, you got to unmute your mic, Eric. Robbie, how easy is it right now for somebody to start a business? And give a little bit more about your background and why you're qualified to speak on this, because I know why. But how easy is it right now for someone to start a Dragon Head selling business, to start a basket weaving business? The floor is yours.
I've been living solely off of the internet since 2008 or 9. That's how easy it is. I literally went from working in Journey's shoe store as an assistant manager to walking away and uploading my music online, and it took off from there. And so literally I was sleeping on the couch one night, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, I was in Source magazine, which is one of the biggest hip hop magazines back in the time.
I think you and I are the only people that are on this panel that have been in the Source.
That knows about that.
I digress from that. Please continue.
So I've been living off the internet since then. I've had my ups and downs with it, but around 2015, I struck oil. I call it digital oil, and one day I did $21,000 in sales on the internet. The next day I did $22,000 or $23,000 in sales. I never looked back from that moment. I've been helping people understand this digital, what I call digital real estate. The internet is a world, and websites are real estate inside of that world. And if you don't have your own platform that exists on the World Wide Web, you don't have digital real estate. Some people think they have digital real estate if they're on, let's say, Facebook. That's part of it, but Facebook owns Facebook. We don't. So we have to have our own digital platform as well. And so I've been encouraging people and screaming from the rooftop. I started off telling all my family and friends, hey, start a website. Hey, start a business. You can do it from your home. And fortunately, a lot of people have started to listen to me over the years. And right now I have a company, my company, Southern Web Developer. We serve over 500 service-based businesses all around the United States. I'm a 9th grade high school dropout. And I'm saying all this not to brag. I'm saying that if I can do it, you can do it. It's so easy. You can have an idea today, and it can be worldwide tomorrow. That's the power we have right here on our little phones. We can literally run a worldwide business from our phones. It's mind-blowing. And I've been doing it for a long time, and I still have a hard time wrapping my mind around the concept. I took there's a 14-year-old girl approached me about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Her mother approached me, right? She said, I want to build a website because my company builds websites. I want to build a website for my 14-year-old daughter. She sells jewelry. And I said, phenomenal. We built the website. We turn it back over to her. We do this a lot, right? The next day I wake up and I have all of these emails from my client's website. She's getting sales after sales after sales at 14 years old. She's selling costume jewelry. It's not even real jewelry. That's the power of it. You can be 12 and do it. So I'm just encouraging anybody right now, if you have, this is the greatest transformation of wealth that the world has ever seen. I'm beating college graduates that have degrees hanging out their yin yang. This is the greatest time to be alive right now.
You're absolutely right.
When it comes to business.
When you're a grandfather, people are going to ask you, hey, grandfather, what were you doing during the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the United States? Were you sitting on your butt Netflix, or were you out there in the trenches? Because you hit the nail on the head. And I said this, Duvall, you remember I said this in the beginning of last year. I said this 1 year ago. I said we're in the middle of this is about to be the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the United States, and thus far that assessment has been correct. Now, Robbie, you mentioned something fascinating. You said you're a 9th grade high school dropout, but I want to add to that layer, something that you also are, just like Leonardo da Vinci, is you're an autodidactic learner. And whether you have a college degree or don't have a college degree, I really don't care. What I do care about is whether or not you're an autodidactic learner, because the average graduate of a 4-year institution in the United States reads 2 books for the rest of their life. You heard it correctly, 2. And so it doesn't matter whether you have a degree or don't have a degree. You are the one that chooses whether or not you want to be an autodidactic learner or not. And those that are autodidactic are always learning, are always growing, are always adapting, and are always able to pivot, because they're not rinsing and repeating what they learned 10, 15, 20 years ago. And guys, believe it or not, this has been such a great show. We are in the last 10 minutes now. So we're going to give everybody the floor for final thoughts and final words that they want to say. And we're going to actually start with Natalie Esmond, because she's been patiently waiting for so long. So let's start with Natalie Esmond, and then we'll move the floor. So Natalie, final thoughts on this week's show. The floor is yours.
Final thoughts would be, I love words too, Mo. So I was thinking about you talking about passion. And when I think about the word desire, Think and Grow Rich talks about it being of the Father, right? And so just knowing that burning desire that you have within you, that's purposeful for you. And to keep going towards that and believing in that. And, don't be influenced by what's around you. I look at everyone on the panel and it's like, I'm with all the mischief makers, and I love that. We're the ones that are changing that trajectory and being brave and going for it. And it's such an honor to be part of that with you, and to know that we're being that example and leaving that for future generations lights me up the most.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Let's go final thoughts to Duvall. The floor is yours.
I think what you said with being an autodidactic learner, I think that's priceless. I'm not joking. This weekend, I was doing some research on a new project that I'm working on, and I read 5 books this weekend. So when you said 2 books for the rest of their lives, that sort of threw me for a loop. I can't imagine someone doing that. And if you're not reading, then watch online courses, watch YouTube. There are so many ways you can continue to learn, continue to improve yourself. And that's how you're going to get to the next level. That's how you're going to keep that excitement in your life. So absolutely, just learn and then do. Those are the 2 biggest takeaways that I can give to anyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Duvall. Let's go to Sherry.
Yeah, so the thing that really speaks to me so near and dear to my heart is that every single one of us has within us greatness. And never underestimate the power of your dreams and the influence of your internal human spirit. Because I say play full out in today as if today was all there is.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Sherry. Let's go to Sheila.
I
Go
just
Sheila.
like
Go Sheila. Go. Sorry, I get a little.
Eric, the first time I met you, you said you were more interested in hearing about McDonald's than my other story.
No.
Do you remember that?
No. All I said
That was
I
me,
was
Sheila.
probably
No, I was just
I was probably the creator of do fries come with that? Because I kept on going back and forth trying to see if fries came with it.
Yeah, I actually want to talk to you about Maui and where you live. I love
Yeah.
Maui. I come there every chance I get. But yeah.
Yeah, we're doing
Hey, guys,
Guys,
I'll
we're
tell you.
gonna have an after party off the air.
Yeah.
But
It's
let's
gonna be-
let
Okay,
Sheila,
all right.
Sheila,
Sounds
final
good.
thoughts
So-
on this week's show.
Final thoughts would be do your passion, because when you follow that passion, you align with your soul. And when you are not searching for that thing that gives you joy and bliss, then you are floating along in the river and you're just kind of stagnating. But when you actually go for it, take that leap, just stand in your faith. And every one of us on this panel has taken a leap of faith. And we are all here to say that you can achieve your own leap of faith. And we support you in that.
Absolutely. Thank you
Love
so
that.
much for that,
Love
Sheila. And if anyone wants to buy some dragon heads or dragon eggs, how can they get in touch with you?
www.crystaldragonhealing.com is my website.
Okay.
And I am on Instagram as the Crystal Dragon Healing and Facebook, Sheila Hay.
Incredible.
Check me
Thank you
out.
so much for that. We certainly will. I highly recommend if anyone is in the market for dragon heads, if you've been looking for it on Craigslist or eBay, if you've been in the market for dragon eggs, don't worry, we have your source. Let's go to Speaker Eric Swanson, aka Mr. Awesome.
That's me.
The floor is yours. Final thoughts on this week's episode. Go ahead.
Yeah, rock and roll. I have it written down. I wrote it down this time. Okay, so number one is I have a note to myself that I'm going to look up what the heck autodidactic something learning is. 'Cause I need to look that up. I have no idea. I've never heard that before, so that's on my list. Second thing is I kept on getting text messages from Duvall saying, can I help him with a resume? He wants to work for the 14-year-old that Robbie set up the website for. Yeah. And the third
Absolutely.
thing,
Let's take that business to the next level, man. Come on.
final thoughts. I know, man. Final thoughts is I have this down here. Create an elephant list. What I mean by that, no offense to the dragons, but the elephant list is this. How many of you allow people to like rent space in your mind? You're not even charging them rent for it. So create an elephant list. Have a blank piece of paper. Write down 10 names of people you want to start surrounding yourself with, and that's your elephant list. Those are the people you want to put out there to start working towards. Start surrounding yourself with. Buy their books. Here's a great way if you want to like impress somebody. Grab a book. Buy one of mine. Here's one of mine. Grab a book. Go to Amazon. It was the easiest one to grab. Go to Amazon.com and order a book and then take a selfie. Boom, you take a selfie with the book and then send it to that person, and they're gonna be like, wow, they're gonna talk about you. It's really cool. So have that elephant list, but also have a donkey list. The donkey list is really cool. On the flip side of the elephant list, what you do is you put 10 names of people that are just taking up too much of your time. That person that says, I want to pick your brain. When they go to they can go to pickyourbrain.com. It goes right to one of my websites with an invoice. So just be careful of allowing
Yes.
to pick your brain.
Yes.
And literally, have that donkey list of the people that you're like, look, I love you, but you got to clean your own act up before I can come into your life again. All right. And now don't call them and say, hey, you made my donkey list. Don't do that. And again, my name's Eric Swanson. If you want more of these really cool tips, go to decidetobeawesome.com and I'll see you there. Thanks.
Thank you. I mean, wow.
That was
Dragons, elephants, donkeys. This has been a wonderful episode between dragons, elephants, and donkeys. So let's go to Robbie for the final thoughts on this week's episode. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Ask yourself, whose life am I living if you're not happy? If you're not happy, it's only for one reason. You're not living your own life.
Absolutely.
You're living a life you think somebody else expects you to live. You have to do what I call break free from the institution of obligation.
Yes.
Because other people have their own agenda for you. You see it with charismatic bosses. No disrespect. But when you forfeit your freedom of time and money, you forfeit your way of life.
Mhm.
Nobody will really tell you that in mainstream society. because we continue to perpetuate the workforce, and I call the workforce is a system that's for people that's forced to work. That's why they call it the workforce. When you're living your dreams, it's not forced. You get in harmony with who you truly are, you flow downstream. You flow downstream and start living your dream every single day. And it's in the step-by-step moments that you take. So whether you have been thinking about something that you've been wanting to do forever. And here's my final thoughts. Don't waste your time trying to convince people to see your dreams. They can't see it because they don't have all the information that it takes for them to clearly see your vision. I used to go around and I used to tell people, hey, man, I got this idea. Nobody really gave me the feedback that I needed. And at first I took offense to it, but it's only because they did not have all the resources. They didn't have the information. They didn't have all of the life experiences. So don't waste your time trying to say, hey, man, please believe in me. Just go live your dream and ask for forgiveness later. Break free from the institution of obligation.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Robbie. I mean, you just, what I love about the way you speak is you condense so much wisdom in such a short, period of time. What you spoke on was really about socialized mind and asking ourselves, are we living our life or are we living socialized mind? Socialized mind is the life that we live when we allow the media, when we allow public school systems, when we allow, friends and society to influence our life, as opposed to us being a authentic representation and expression of what we are. So thank you for bringing that up. And of course, to your second point, people get addicted to being on salary and every 2 weeks counting on another person to give them freedom. If you're counting on another human being to give you your financial freedom, that is essentially, we don't have time, unfortunately, to get into it here, but your point was very well accepted. Now, it's interesting. Let's quickly go to the virtual auditorium before we wrap this show up. Amy Lee. Wow, Amy Lee, you look like such a nice, sweet person, and yet you're citing Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Whoa. I'm not going to judge a book by its cover anymore because, you definitely don't look like, but then again, that might be one of the laws of Sun Tzu.
It is.
Of course, talking about
that's a really
politics.
good from Sun Tzu, Mo.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Thank you, Pankaj, for being on the virtual auditorium. Let's see, Tehran. Other people can't see what you see, even if they see it. Goldilocks says Eric Swanson coming in for the win on his space. Incredible. And Anshuman Sinha says lovely. Anshuman Sinha, a man that always is able to say so much by saying so little. Anshuman Sinha, for those that don't know, president of Thai SoCal, and of course a poet with the upcoming book of poetry, where with just a few short words he can say quite a bit. Goldilocks, Duvall always on point. And this is my favorite comment of the whole entire day, or the whole entire week, is let's see what this one says. Hi, Mo, just wanted to see if you would read this. Speaker Eric Swanson. And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this week's show. I want to thank everyone in the virtual auditorium. I want to thank our friends at Roku TV. I want to thank all of the panelists here. And Natalie, what can you say just in closing? Because I want to get your thoughts on this as well before we close it up. Of course, I'm talking about the Natalie on the top floor and not the one in the middle frame. Please, Natalie, floor is yours.
Well, it's kind of hard after everybody has given such wisdom. But I think what is clear about this panel is that we can joke. When you can joke, you don't feel pressure. And when you don't feel pressure, you're actually living your life. And everything aside from that is existing. And if you're existing, then it is a social conditioned mind. It's a subconscious patterns that we need to get to. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I would even argue, as some spiritual leaders do, suffering is optional. You have a choice. Do you want to be happy or do you not want to be happy? It's a choice. And you may not know your passion or your purpose. So just think back, what makes you smile and gives you that peaceful kind of feeling when you do it? Not to mention The adrenaline, I think Daval mentioned that, when you just keep going and keep going and keep going, regardless of how long you've been on the air. So I think this panel was amazing, and everybody brought so much to it. I can just wrap it up and say, one step to freedom. Make a choice to live and be happy.
Thank you so much, Natalie. And Amy
Love
Lee
that.
says that we have the best panels on primetime TV. Speaking of
Yes.
primetime TV, I just found out that on Roku TV we beat all the rerun episodes of Seinfeld. So take that, Jerry Seinfeld, and take that, Michael Richards. And take that, Seinfeld, So with that, we're going to go ahead and end this week's show. I want to thank all the people in here in the virtual auditorium still leaving comments. Suffering is optional. Well said. This is another one of Anshuman Sinha's incredible poems. We're going to compile all of his comments and turn it into a book of poetry. Pankaj says, suffering is a choice. Tehran Glover says, make the choice to live. And with that, guys, we're going to end the broadcast. Thank you all so much. Join us next week, same time, same place. And remember to, as always, keep the faith. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.